During a Saturday town hall in DeSoto, Texas, gubernatorial candidate Beto O'Rourke slammed Texas Governor Greg Abbott's response to mass shootings. In the wake of the May tragedy in Uvalde, O'Rourke appended a press conference about the Texas school shooting by Governor Greg Abbott, his opponent in the upcoming governor's race. O'Rourke claimed Abbott shared some blame for the tragedy, saying, quote, "This is on you." O'Rourke is a former congressman and failed 2020 presidential candidate who has had a storied history on gun control. As a presidential contender, he railed against citizens owning AR-15s. When he launched his run for governor, O'Rourke sought to minimize his messaging on gun control. But following the Uvalde mass shooting, he has resumed his criticism of Republican-supported gun policies.
Texans, we must defend ourselves. We must take matters into our own hands. Somebody was listening, bought an AK-47, drove it 650 miles to El Paso, Texas, walked into the Walmart. On the Saturday before the school year started, there are kids and grandkids buying backpacks and notebooks and the school supplies to start school in a day and a half. This guy walks in, claiming that he's repelling that invasion that he's been warned about, telling police afterwards, "I came to kill Mexicans," and unleashes, opens fire, and takes down 23 people in a matter of minutes in a city, one of the most peaceful in the United States of America, bar none. Not in spite of the fact that we're a city of immigrants, but because of the fact that we're a city of immigrants. We don't lose 20 a year, 23 taken down. He comes to our town, he says, "You know what? We got to do something about this." A month later, in Midland, Odessa, a guy who could not pass a background check to buy his AR-15 because we don't have a universal background check in the state of Texas can buy the same weapon from a private seller, turn around and use it to murder 8 people in that community. Guess what the governor does after that? He signs legislation, though opposed by some of the courageous public servants here in this room tonight, and ignores police officers and sheriff's deputies and members of law enforcement who beg him not to, that does away with the license to carry a firearm program that previously required that you go through a background check and get some training and proficiency for that firearm before you take it out in public, and instead listens to the special interests, to the NRA, to the gun lobby, and to his donors. Predictably, gun violence spikes in the state of Texas. More cops have been shot down in this state than any other in the union. And then we have Uvalde. 13 weeks ago, almost to the day, 19 kids slaughtered where they sat in that classroom. They're 2 heroic teachers who have already sacrificed the best years of their lives for those kids, willingly gave their lives in that moment to try to save them just once more. Killed by an 18-year-old who patiently waited for his 18th birthday, when it would then be legal, if not okay by any of us, to walk into a gun store and buy not 1, but 2 AR-15s and hundreds of rounds of ammunition, a firearm whose high impact, high velocity round is designed to take down an enemy soldier at 500 yards, knock him down dead. He bleeds out before anybody can get to him. That's what we want to do in war. We don't need it here in our communities or in civilian life or the hunt or for any other purpose but to take down human beings. Those kids, defenseless. Defenseless not only against that gunman with that AR-15, defenseless against a governor who will not take the necessary action to protect their lives. He has called a special session to go after the crisis in our state of critical race theory. He's called a special session to go after the crisis in our state of transgender kids playing high school athletics. He's called a special session to weaken our voting laws in this great democracy. 13 weeks in, he cannot be bothered to call a special session to save the lives of our children in those classrooms. We will be the ones to take that action, to find the common ground, to make the change that our kids literally are depending on us for right now. They don't get a vote or a voice but through us in this election. And when we call that special session, here's what we're doing. At a minimum, we're going to raise the minimum age of purchase for an AR-15 to 21 years old. We're going to have a universal background check, so everyone who buys a firearm has some kind of screening, so that we know if they're a danger to themselves or to any of us, there's some way to intervene. And we're going to have a red flag law, so that if you have that firearm and you're threatening to kill people in your school, we're going to be able to stop you before it's too late. We can get that done. This makes all the common sense in the world. And I've listened to Republicans, gun owners, Democrats, non-gun owners, non-voters, human beings, little kids who are counting on us at this moment of truth. And everyone understands that we can do better, but we're going to need a change.